Yes, yes. All right, let me confirm on our YouTube channel. Should be the right one. Right.
No, I'm talking
Yeah.
about the right Zoom.
Yeah. Yes, yes. Okay. All right, let me confirm on our YouTube channel. Okay, should be the right one. Right. All right, so good evening and welcome to our Zoom. All right, thanks for joining us. I see you have joined us here on Zoom live. I'm gonna start the recording and then we'll get started. Welcome back to Nightcap with Carlos and Chantel. Tonight is a very special nightcap because happy anniversary to us. Happy anniversary to us. Happy anniversary to us. Happy anniversary to us. It's 13 years. Is that right? 13. 13 years that I've been married to this glorious woman.
Glorious.
My gorgeous queen. My best friend. So no, it's been an amazing journey together. And I'm super grateful for the relationship that we have and the fun that we have. So tonight's a very special night, our nightcap, but we also saved something very special. Now, if you're not a connoisseur, which I'm not really, I'm just learning this stuff. I know that this is a very good brand and good like special edition bookers. So we saved it for our anniversary nightcap. Last Friday, the 10th. Is that right, babe?
Yeah, what?
Oh, yeah, it is the
Confused.
10th. I don't know. I'm just like, wait, what? Why all of a sudden the 10th was our anniversary. And so we're super excited to be here with you tonight to celebrate tonight. May 10th was our anniversary, and that was 13 years, marked 13 years. We actually were together for about a year and a half before we got married, and that's a whole nother story. But okay, Bookers, it's our first experience trying this, but we were told by some people who really know good drinks that Booker's is really good. Let's see if Chantel can get this.
A fancy bottle, bro.
Hold it up. Let me see. Let's see, buddy. So she pulled out this little wax thing and seals it. And there's a cork in it, which usually that's like what wine does. Whoa! Cheers, baby. Cheers. Okay.
Probably too much ice.
Oh, I like it with ice. So, and the rocks, they call it, right? All right. So, and we are currently in North Carolina. Dude, you got more than I did. I'm just kidding. We're in North Carolina. And before you start drinking, don't drink yet. It's a toast to 13 years of
Adventures.
epic. It's been 14 and a half years of epic with you, my queen, and 13 years married to you. And truly, I can say this with all confidence, all my heart, soul, and body and mind, especially my body, that it has been pretty epic. And that seriously, it's been the best years of my life.
You definitely have more.
And and cheers to creating marriage mastery together and really understanding what that looks like and going through the trials and tribulations to get there, you know. And it's been good, and we're still not there yet. We're still working on it, you know. But cheers to you and who you are and what you've done to help me through all of my triggers, all my trauma, and help me become the lion that I am today, but yet balanced with my relationship skills, growing and learning from you.
Take it.
Oh, that's funny. So this is funny. We are currently I just got a call from a friend who's calling me with a very important thing. So we've got some things happening, which is awesome. So we're live doing this. Give me a second. It's a very important thing that's happening right now. Just okay. Super excited though. Sorry, y'all. This is somebody that we're helping in a business deal, and so it's very important to them that I message them in the middle of our call. I know, but it's an emergency and a good emergency. But cheers to my bride. That's why Chantel's like, you want to take that call? She knows how important it is. So cheers to you, my beautiful queen. Just for all the great 13 years of greatness and many more to come. Seriously.
Yes.
Toast to you.
And cheers to the adventure, the journey, the good, the bad, the ugly,
Oof.
the victories,
Yes.
the triumphs.
The lack of deodorant.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Unscripted, y'all. I'm kind of sneaky.
Love you.
Love you. Cheers. Wait, let's do this thing where you put it around. Put it in your right hand.
Oh gosh.
This is cool. Let's try it. I'm gonna... Woo, that's hot. That's smooth. That is good.
Yep. Let's yummy.
I guess I didn't even think about the fact that we're kind of endorsing them. We're trying it for the first time. So, but it's good. That's hot, but smooth. What a great flavor. So, anyways, all right, go ahead, babe. So let's talk about this. I'm sorry, I'm messaging.
So our nightcap is usually, for those of you who don't know, or it's your first time joining us, Monday evenings are very purposeful because we have been doing a lot of mentorship all day long. So, we find it necessary for us to share a little bit about what we have experienced with those who we're mentoring, some of just what's happening in our community, what people are going through, because we're all on a journey to create epic, right? Whether it has to do with our communication, it could be healing from trauma, it could be figuring out how to have more confidence, it could be, you name it, we work through it. So for me personally, the theme of the day for my mentorships and leading into the women's call had to do with creating a safe place. And so what does that look like, right? Creating a safe place for communication, creating a safe place for the expressing of feelings. What does that look like? What does it feel like? Am I a safe place? I think it's a really good place to examine. I know that, if we have our heart's intentions in, making other people feel safe enough to feel the freedom to communicate, because a lot of times we shut people down. And how do we do that? We shut people down when we don't validate their feelings. We shut them down when we come up with me too's, right? Somebody shares something and automatically you're like, oh, me too. And mine's this much worse, right? Then it feels then it doesn't feel safe. It feels like, what I just shared isn't of value, and you don't have you didn't really hear me. You're just excited to share about what you've experienced. You know what I mean? So creating a safe place. The notes, whoa, the notes I had for it, was what does it look like? It means to be heard, valued, accepted, to share what's on my heart without having to fit other people's agenda or, whatever. I can't contact. It also had to do with putting your phone down.
It's good.
And I was able to share some of the tools that you and I use, like, so this is a prime example, right? He's got his phone because he's in the middle of, like, we've got this, business deal happening that he's been consulting on, and it's a big deal. Okay.
Yeah.
So
it's in the moment.
am I going to be offended by it? Right? If I'm sharing with him something and he's distracted by his phone, he's like, then so I can either pop off, be offended, and create this whole big story that I don't matter, I don't have value, I'm I'm a victim because he's not paying attention to me, or whatever, right? Or what we have done and communicated is that it's okay for me to just go, I'll wait till you're finished.
Right.
Right.
Or handle your business. Like she said, do you need to take that call? She
Right.
gave me permission to even.
But so if I'm in the position where I'm sharing something and he is on his phone, okay, because that's a habit that we have.
Yeah.
Across the board. It's a habit that we have. So if I'm wanting to share something and he's on his phone, I can simply touch his hand and say, instead of continuing to talk and letting him know that he can be on his phone while I'm trying to talk, and that's okay.
Right.
Because it's really not, right? Because so I want to communicate that I'm worthy of being listened to, right? So what I do is I'll put my hand on him and just be like, I'll wait till you're finished.
Yep. And it's then, honoring, by the way.
So then
it's honoring herself and honoring me in that situation, which, by the way, I do want you to understand that we are big fans of prioritizing your spouse. I mean, 100%. I want you to hear that. And designating time for phones and not having phones, no phone zone. Like, we're in favor of that, and prioritizing your relationship. Date night is one of them. So I do want to make that clear for those who maybe are tuning in for the first time that don't know who we are and what our standards are. Like, we have high standards of connection and communication. We also have pregame and communication of work hours and when we work and things that we do, which is real as well and important for us to, when we have work stuff, that we do it. We do we take the action when it's needed, right? So
okay. But I'm talking about when I'm sharing.
Yeah, when we're on one-on-one time, or when we're together, and right, or potentially during a work time, even, right? If we're both working and I'm on my phone, because I want to make it clear that there is times when we have a no phone zone. But this is a time where maybe we're working on stuff together. I'm working on a project. She's working on one. I'm on my phone purposely, right? And she has something to say. And I do appreciate that too. And on my side of it, men or women, it's okay for you to also be able to say, give me a minute and finish this. She just did this earlier. Like, I was having this conversation. I was over cooking some food and talking to her. And she goes, and I'm like, I could realize she wasn't paying attention. I'm like, is this a good time to share? And she's like, well, actually, I'm trying to finish my action items for the clients. And I'm like, all right, I'll let you finish. Right? It was real. Like, I could tell that she was distracted. She was doing something on her computer and I was sharing. I'm like, hey, is this a good time? And she's real with me. She spoke her truth and communicated well. So yeah, back to what you were saying about the phone thing.
Yeah. So anyways, it's good practice to communicate strategy when things are not hot, right? When there's not offense taken and you're not actually actively trying to work through something, but create a strategy of saying, okay, so what can I say to you? You know what I mean? And that's what we've done. So I just, would stop talking, because number one, I know my value and I know that my voice is important. What I have to share is important. And I believe that he values me.
Yes.
and wants to hear what I have to say. So I can choose to not be offended by him handling his business. And I can say, I'll wait till you're done. and it's just wrapping it up,
Yeah.
finishing whatever thought he's got, or addressing something, and then he'll put his phone down and he'll be like, okay, I'm all yours. Right.
So
So then it's an easy transition to what face to face. It's, I'm honoring you, it's, you're important, I'm valued, like all of those things, right? So what it comes down to is, again, creating a safe place. How do we do that? That's a strategy for the phone thing, right? There's a number of different strategies that we can have, different ways to communicate, that allow people to feel safe to share if they've been shut down. You feel energy that's happening, that shifts, and you can say like, hey, what's happening right now? Right.
that's right. Or sometimes I know she feels this about me, and sometimes I do her. I'm trying to talk to her, and maybe it is working hours and she's on her phone. And I may say, hey, you seem a little distracted. Do you want me to wait? I want to, and I think I said this earlier. I was like, hey, can I have your attention real quick? I want to share something. She's like, well, I'm about to jump on this mentorship, but yeah, go ahead. And I was like, this is crazy. Oh my gosh. And she let me talk. And then she's like, okay, I knew about that already, but I'm going to do this mentorship now. That's true. I was like, had this cool epiphany. I was researching something. She goes, yes, I've already researched all that. Good job. I love her so much. It's just like,
glad, glad you figured that out.
I'm getting on my mentorship now. I let you speak. Good job. Sometimes, hey, we just want to be heard, right? We have these things we want to share. It's really cool in the moment. I'm excited about it, and I'm a verbal processor, so I'm like, whoa. Welcome to our life.
So,
I do want to share at this moment about what you're talking about, because I think there's a good nugget here for men, husbands, boyfriends, significant others, and wives. There's a good little nugget here to gather from this whole thing about emotions. To validate and acknowledge these emotions allows people that we are in relationship with, maybe even a best friend, to go into motion. I want you to hear that, okay? To acknowledge and validate someone's emotion allows them to continue in motion and not get stuck. There's two things that will cause a person to get stuck in their muck. Like that. Yeah, you can write that one down. There's two things that guarantee you and me to get stuck in our muck. And here's what they are. And you'll notice even a relationship, a marriage. So I'm gonna give you an example. So I'm like, hey, babe, this Fred Flintstone guy, he's a real jerk, a real asshole. He did this to me, he did this to me, and he did this to me. So I'm in the muck, right? Now there's two things that will guarantee I get stuck in this muck. She's like, oh, whatever, dude. Just you're always negative. Just I don't want to hear it. Guess what? I wasn't heard. And I'm like, well, this guy's an asshole and a jerk. And now all of a sudden you're like him in that moment, because I'm feeling these emotions, right? And he treated me this way and he was this way, right? I sound like a victim, but everyone goes through this. We get stuck in our muck, in our head, our mindset of a situation. And I need to release it. So two ways that guarantees you're going to stay stuck in the muck. That's one, to not be heard. Here's another one. I say to Chantel, this Fred Flintstone guy, he's a real asshole. He makes me pedal his car underneath it with my feet. Sorry, only some of you get that. Sorry.
You're such a dork.
I laugh at my own jokes. Only some of you will get that. Probably most of our people won't, because they never watched the Flintstones. It's a cartoon. But anyway.
From when we were real little.
Yeah. Okay. So, anyways, I'm complaining about it, and then Chantel goes, yeah, I know. Fred, he's been a jerk and an asshole to me too. And he's like, and Wilma, his wife, is even worse. And, that ain't nothing. Actually, I had the worst day of my life. And all of a sudden, we're both victims, just piling up crap, taller on top of each other. Sorry, I shouldn't be waving my arms around. And it just, guess what? I said 2 ways to get stuck in your muck. Number one is you don't get hurt. Number two is they agree with you and then make it worse. They pile more crap on top of your crap.
They jump in the shit bucket with you.
Yes. Y'all experience that? And it happens between couples. It does a lot. Oh, well, it's pillow talk. It's okay as long as we're in our bedroom and we're talking to just each other. No, it's not. That's not the correct or beneficial way. So you're like, well, how do you get hurt? And how do you not get stuck in your muck? If that's the 2 ways you stay stuck in your muck, how can I be free? And how can my wife, get that 4-wheel drive truck or tractor? Yeah. My tractor, my baby Sally. How can I get that Kubota, put it in 4-wheel drive, and really grip it, pull Carlos out of the muck that he's in? We hear them. We acknowledge their emotions so they can
validate their feelings.
Okay, baby. So you do it. How would you best say that? Because you're the expert in this world of understanding trauma and emotions of people. We were processing this the other day, and almost over 24 years of helping people, my wife, this is amazing, go from triggers and trauma and drama and hangups and hurts and habits and addictions to triumph. They all are in the same category, y'all. And I'm our greatest student. But seriously, she's amazing. So that's why I ask her, because she, as an expert of doing this and working with abused and neglected children and working with people and helping thousands of people over the years, what is then the best way to validate and acknowledge, but not to receive, right? Because by the way, there's another fun fact, and I'm gonna let her answer in a minute, but I'm building it up. There's another fun fact. I don't necessarily agree with or think that some of the stuff that counselors do, if they're not trained properly, do it well, because they receive a lot of that crap. And how do I know? Because one of the highest levels of suicide is in counselors. Go look it up. It's an interesting fact, right? Because they're not necessarily trained to do what's called not receive it, but pass it through and release it with them, right? Because it's really like poop and crap and smelly and stinky, or my armpits. And it's, how can I pass this on without receiving it or eating it, right? So, and that's what counselors sometimes will do if they're not trained it properly. They receive it and then they get dark and deep and heavy and right into the crap with people, right? So, my love. Drum roll. I'm just kidding. I am hot though. I gotta turn the air down a little bit. Hold on.
So again, the two roads, right? You can, validate the feelings, right? Or not validate the feelings, and then, or you can jump in the bucket with them. So to validate feelings, right, we have to really address like, hey, your feelings are valid. Man, it must have sucked to heard that kind of stuff from your client. I'm sure that didn't feel good, right? I'm simply acknowledging his feelings are valid and that it didn't feel good, right? So the next thing, if I wanted to kind of help him out of that bucket, would be like, what did that cause for you? What are you feeling in that? Like I would identify like what it brought up in him, because 9 times out of 10, when we're dealing with a challenge or offended by something, right, which is clearly what happened in that scenario, we have to understand why. Like, what is it that it triggered in you? Where do these feelings come from? A lot of times it has to do with an attack on an identity, right? We've received whatever's coming at us as an attack on our identity if we've taken offense. So
this
could have
is
been
powerful, babe. Thank you.
Could have been
good.
just, what was the client's name? Joe?
Fred Flintstone.
Oh, Fred Flintstone.
Yeah.
Could have just been Fred having a bad day and you just happened to be the next person he saw, right? didn't actually have anything to do with you, but you've taken this giant personal attack on your character.
It's good.
Why? Because there's deep-seated stuff that looks similar to what that felt like, right? The feeling is similar. The feeling takes you right back to that feeling of when your identity was being attacked. So even though Fred Flintstone maybe didn't directly attack your identity, the feeling causes you to see it that way, right? You're seeing through the lens of your personal experience.
That's so good. And you're helping me to know by validating my feelings. And by the way, kind of understanding what she said, even step one is to validate the feelings and acknowledge. But how do you do that? It's like you just express, for men like me that don't quite understand even what that means. Women, it's really interesting. They do it so naturally. I've been paying attention a lot more now because I'm aware of it. And Chantel laughs at me because now when I say it, it does sound forced. It's real, not to others,
It's
but to
actually
her.
really cute because he's really making a genuine effort.
Man, and it's really acknowledging like even the pain, or man, that must have really felt painful. That must have been really hard for you. I can't imagine the how gripping or how frustrating that must be, or I can't imagine the fear you must have felt in that moment. Do you see what I mean? I've been practicing. That's why I'm even able to go through these because I actually think about it. I'm such a system guy, and that's why we make a good team. She's like, just do it, go with the flow. And I'm like, but babe, having a system really helps to make it even better, to make it even more purposeful, and to help more people, right? Men, do you hear me? Like to be able to say to someone, even another man, by the way, we do the same, men. You think you're above it. Bullshit. You complain just in a different way and it sounds macho. Like that guy was a real asshole. I want to kick his ass. And you think that that's okay. But it's the same as what we hear with women when they're expressing emotions about how they feel. And it's the same kind of thing. It's still emotions. It's still frustration and something that we all are feeling and will feel at times that needs to be released.
Right. And so what happens when those feelings are not validated? What happens is we don't have a sense of completion.
It's good.
So then we're going to have to share that same frustration, those same feelings over and over again until we find it, right? That's human nature.
So good.
So validation is kind of like a basic human need. And we don't realize it until we're like, you kind of like take a bird's eye view to our life and our scenarios and who we've communicated what with, right? That's why you have people who are, maybe you have someone in your family who's like, man, they just complain all the time. Well, they're complaining to so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so because they're not validated.
Come on.
They don't feel complete in sharing their experience.
And we went through this. It was funny because Chantel was trying to help me and I couldn't get it. She's like, you're not hearing me. That's what she kept saying. So that's really what validation is you're actually hearing someone. And the way that they feel heard and able to release it is for you to exactly what she's saying, acknowledge those emotions that they're feeling. You must have felt petrified. You must have been like angry beyond measure. You must have just felt extremely depressed. Well, you must have felt whatever, again, the feelings are what? Go ahead.
It's important for you to not create emotions for someone.
I understand. I'm just giving different examples.
No, I understand, but this is important.
Yeah. Okay, good. Go for it.
So if somebody says, yeah, I was sick yesterday and I was, my sinuses felt terrible, like you're not going to be like, oh, that must be exasperating.
You must have been on the brink of death.
Yeah, like you're acknowledging what emotions they felt. Like,
well,
it
and
felt
this is
terrible.
Good because even in that, you say, well, how did that make you feel? I mean, if you don't know.
Exactly. That's great.
How did that make you feel? It's a great question. See, I'm learning. How did that make you feel?
So this is the other thing, right? Being aware of what also causes people to feel safe and valued is pursuing understanding, pursuing more understanding. So if somebody's sharing with you and you don't quite understand the depth of what they're sharing, but you feel like there's more, pursue it. Pursue more. Pursue the questions of saying, like he's saying, like, wow, how did that make you feel? Like, oh man, I'm so sorry. That sucks.
Yeah.
Right?
The
That's
difference
validating.
is that's validation. But like Chantel said, it's a great picture of what she said. You don't climb in the crab with them or the muck with them. You don't start building on top of that story. That's what most people do, unfortunately.
So again, recognizing that Fred Flintstone, it's like the kick the dog type of thing, right? Like, like he dealt with somebody who dealt with somebody, and it just trickled down, and then Carlos was the next person he saw, and so he kicked him, right? Like it's like that all his day built up, and then you just unleash. It didn't have anything to do with Carlos per se, right? But recognizing that there's deeper stuff, right? So he's sharing about his experience with Fred. Is it about Fred or is it about Carlos? Is it about what he's feeling and where that feeling comes from? Because 9 times out of 10, Fred was just a trigger.
It's good. It's really good. Yep. I agree.
On that note.
Yeah, man. Good stuff. It's been a busy day for me on the men's side too. We were literally talking about a little bit of this with again, similar to what you're saying, the emotions that we face, but also that our wives face, right? Because we have a men's leadership call too, and several mentorships.
Sorry, I didn't turn the chat on.
And during my mentorships today and communication with people in our community, it's been powerful breakthroughs to see me acknowledge how they feel, how people feel, acknowledging the emotion, whether they felt trapped in situations or whether they felt like they weren't being heard by me even, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not just Chantel, it's even our clientele that I'm able to then, how did that make you feel? Asking those questions or expressing even the things that they are feeling in that moment. Again, it's not to pile it up, but to acknowledge it, validate it. And then it allows them the freedom to release and have new stories or new emotions that will lead to a better story. You following that? And so today we were even talking about this about wives, because during that PMS time, premenstrual syndrome, like women's emotions are heightened and their spidey sensitivity is heightened to a whole nother level. Then you add other drama or trauma to it, things that may be happening in their life on top of those emotions. Like it's like overload can be, if that's the lens or the glasses you choose to look through. And that's what the world says. But we want to challenge you. And this is what I challenge the men with. What if we lean into it and we actually ask our wives at that moment, we say, wife? Wife? What needs to change in me? Give it to me, babe. Lay it on me.
Can you handle that?
You can't handle the truth.
That's been a conversation that you've had.
Can't handle the truth. I said, babe, I get my journal out or my notepad. I said, you just go. I'm going to write it down. Because of what we faced during these times. And she like starts, and I'm like, but and oh wait, like she's saying something. I'm like, no, but wait, that's not. I want to talk because I'm a verbal processor, and she tends to not be. She's an internal mental processor, right? And so here I am wanting to talk about it, and I'm finally, which by the way, there's no right or wrong answer to say whether verbal or internal is better or right or wrong. No, there's no right or wrong answer. You can't make it about right or wrong here. However, I need to learn to be silent and she needs to learn to talk.
Yeah, it's how are you going to dance? How are you going to choose to dance with your partner?
And why, if for no other reason, I need to learn to be silent and she needs to learn to talk, is because it makes both of us uncomfortable to do the opposite of what's normal for us. That's it. That's all the reason you should do it. Because being uncomfortable is what? Growth. So I get to say, bring it on, baby. Bring it on. And I'm like, I mean, I'm serious, man. This is a good trick. It's a trick. It is. Because I just write down, and sometimes it's like, I mean, I'm serious. Sometimes I'm like,
You're so dramatic. Like,
I know.
honestly, you should
See my
really,
paper.
you should really go out
Be a
for
comedian or actor.
no
I miss my calling.
theater.
I miss my calling. Me and Tyler Perry were like this. Medea. I could have been a white Medea. I really could have.
You still can. It's not too
Okay.
late.
Not too late. A bearded Medea, white Medea. Anyways, so I do feel that though inside now. I am dramatic, and I am trying to help
And
you
he
to
knows it.
visualize it. But I do feel it sometimes. Oh, that one hurt. And but I'm writing it down. And what happens when you write it down too, it allows you not to necessarily own it, because even in that moment, there might be some things in there that she's saying that she is a little frustrated at you about, or he is. Let's be real. Men do the same thing to their wives. And so if you're writing it down, what they're saying or what you're hearing in that moment too, it might reveal some things. You look at it like, well, they didn't really say that, but that's what I heard. And then you can process it, because it literally is, even if you think about it, if I'm just listening, sometimes you're like, oh, you start feeling lower and lower and lower. But if she's saying something, and again, I'm not saying she's even saying things to lower me, but it's my own mindset game, right? But if I'm writing it down, then now I can put it into a space right here that's not me owning it and making me lower. It's like,
Well,
oh, okay, I'm
so
going to write these things out.
again,
Processing.
again, going back to that, like, so if you're creating a safe space, and you're allowing the other person to share their feelings, again, they're their feelings. Not to say they're right, wrong, they're their feelings, and their feelings are valid. Okay. So what they're saying about their feelings, if he's writing it down, it gives him the opportunity to say, okay, so this mark right here, can you tell me more about that? Right. So then he has the opportunity to pursue understanding if he feels the need to, right? Which is a beautiful thing. It both honors me and it honors him.
And there will be things sometimes that I'll write down, and I may say, okay, I believe that maybe I don't have clarity on this. And I then will ask, can I give clarity in this situation, or are you just releasing? Like, do you want to have clarity? Do you want feedback in this situation? Because that's part of it too. At times she just wants to, maybe I'm like, lay it on me, babe. What can I do to change? And she may be expressing some emotions she's felt, and I need to clarify, well, maybe I need to clarify what I meant by those situations, or what I did, why I did what I did. Would that help? And I do ask that. And sometimes she's like, no, I just needed to get that off my chest. I just need to release. Okay, great. In this case, I'm asking for feedback, right? Lay it on me, babe. What needs to change in me? How can I improve? How can I serve you better, love you better? What would make you feel more loved? And I literally will ask that. What needs to change in me? I will say that. Those are some scary questions, y'all. Well, I'm perfect. Nothing needs to change in me. But if you flex that muscle, because Carlos said to do it, or Chantel said to do it, to start out, guess what? It is freaking scary. I agree. But the more you do it, the better it feels. And then all of a sudden you became boss man or boss woman, because like, dang, you guys are awesome. You're so connected. Why? Because I'm willing to ask the hard questions.
And I want to clarify too. So when he's asking what needs to change in me, it's not a blame session.
Mm-hmm. Good point.
I'm expressing my feelings. Mm-hmm. Okay. I own my feelings, right? You're not responsible for how I feel in all of these scenarios. These are my feelings, which is why validation is so important, right? So recognizing that we're choosing to not be offended, and recognizing that our feelings are valid, the scenarios around them may need clarity and may need further understanding, but the feelings are valid and they come from somewhere. Again,
that's right.
If we're triggered, usually it has to do with an experience or trauma in the past. True. Right? That's real and legit. The biggest triggers is usually our spouse because they're the closest to us. They know our nitty gritty. They push our buttons both intentionally and unintentionally. Like it's just real, right? Sometimes we do it for fun. Sometimes it turns them on, you know? I mean, it's part of the part for the course. He knows exactly how to push my buttons so that I react in a feisty, fiery way and he gets excited. That's a strategy he uses. Am I wrong?
You're right. And it works and it's fun. So also with that said about one thing that I was thinking about is what have you noticed? Because when it's interesting, like when women are PMSing, their spidey senses are super heightened. It gives them an extra dose of like confidence as well for them to express. But also in that moment when I ask, it's like I'm leaning in and I want to learn and grow through the process. And I'm willing to ask hard questions like what needs to change in me, but also what have you noticed? Like, because she's more sensitive. She's like, dude, I noticed that you say this thing with this tone of voice. This is really high level stuff, guys. And she's like, it's just when you ask this question, you make this comment, even she'll talk about our sessions here. Sometimes she'll be like, you did this and this. And like, she's like, it just didn't land right. Like it felt like you were defending yourself. And I'm like, oh, really? I'm not wanting to defend myself. I don't need to defend myself. I'm very confident. She's like, I don't know. There's just something there. And I'm like, wow, man, that's deep. Seriously. I'm like, tell me more about that. That's a dangerous question or dangerous thing to say. But then she's like, yeah, just, I don't know what it is about it. I just feel like it's not, you know what I mean? It's not there. It's not confidence. And you can do better than that. I believe in you. And I really just, you need to stop doing that. I'm like, okay. Or another one, she's like, bro, every time that,
Bro,
I'm being nice.
you're being dramatic.
And she's like, even like in doing these, I don't know. Hopefully, some of you that have been watching us all along have seen the progression. She's like, you have to repeat me. And I'm like, do I? She's like, yeah, you always repeat what I say. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I went back and watched some of the videos and I was very emotional. I'm like, baby, I'm so sorry. I have no clue why I'm doing that. Like, I guess I lack trust or I'm trying to clarify or something. Like, please forgive me. And I'm like, you don't need to be repeated. Holy crap, I learned from you. It's almost like I'm clarifying it by repeating it. I'm not trying to not honor you or make you feel like you don't know what you're saying, because I truly do look up to you in these things. So she's amazing. And do you understand the risk that she took to tell me that too? Like me, she trusted that I could be confident enough to handle it, number one. Number two, she wanted to be heard and for me to know how it made her feel in that moment. Like for me to repeat what she said. Like again, it's crazy, these little things, but you as a couple potentially don't even talk about anything like this stuff. So I realize a lot of this is super advanced.
Mm-hmm.
So step one is, are you willing to start learning how to communicate?
Well, I think step one is to recognize, like, what does a safe place look like for you?
Man, that's good. See, even better.
Right?
Even better.
No, I mean, it's
You're right.
real. Like,
You're right.
what does a safe place look like for me? And then how can I be that for others? Right? Because there's a law of reaping and sowing. And so if I am wanting a safe place in others, I have to be a safe place. I have to create it. And so, I think that's important. But I also wanted to mention too, a lot of times, especially with men, right? There's this level of like machismo, like, mentality, if you will, that looks like ego and pride. Translated is actually insecurity, right? So what does it look like when a man is pressing in to building confidence? He's pressing in to being free from the insecurity, the ego, the pride that says it's my way or the highway, or I got everything figured out, or I I know the right way, right? Is to press in, validate feelings, acknowledge them, and learn from them. And you know, intentionally asking the questions of what needs to change in me is really powerful. Number one, it's okay to ask that question, but number two is actually being able to receive it. And what I have seen is tremendous growth in that area for you. And I just want to thank you for that, because this is really powerful, right? Like, he is intentionally pressing into what it looks like to validate feelings. He's intentionally pressing into choosing to not be offended. He's choosing growth, and it's painful growth, right? It's not comfortable. And he's encouraging me to exercise the muscle of communicating what needs to change, right? In order for, number one, for our marriage, but for our family and for our clients. So he's pressing into the really, really hard things for y'all. Like, he's wanting to be better for all of the people around him. Like, that's a level of humility and confidence that is unnatural, quite frankly, especially for a man. You're not going to find a lot of men who are willing to do that. But what a powerful example. None of us are perfect. I am not perfect. We exercise muscles that are weak every single day intentionally. Muscles that, we have gotten complacent with, whether it's physical muscles, emotional muscles, mental emotion muscles. Like, we press in, because we know that on the other side of that is the freedom, is the confidence, and is the ability to help the next person move through whatever's keeping them stuck. So
no more stuck, no more muck.
That's right.
Let's get out of it. Let's get that Kubota. And yes, I'm advertising for Kubota because it's an awesome tractor. Like, get that Kubota, put it in 4-wheel drive, and get out of the muck. Allow someone, a friend, a family member, to be able to help you get out of the muck. It's really amazing. All right, to close out, Booker's. So here's a little reading of Booker's. It is a high level of bourbon. It says, Booker's, the whiskey in this package is the highest grade bourbon created by me here at Jim Beam. It's a bottle, uncut and unfiltered. My grandfather, Jim Beam, liked his whiskey from 6 to 8 years old. Booker's bourbon is a quality screen to remove only pieces of charred barrel wood. There you go. It is quality for a quality marriage, quality relationship. Booker's. Sounds like I was commercial. No, cheers, baby. I did want to read it because I was reading. I was like, oh, that's cool. They have a letter on there, like a statement of their quality, their dedication to quality. So,
cheers, big ears.
Cheers. Hey, thanks for joining us, Carlos and Chantel with Epic Your Life. We love creating extraordinary, and marriage mastery is our thing. So we hope that you would join us every Monday night. We do a unscripted, just nightcap. Yep. And we want to cover skills for our 3 C's of connection: confidence, communication, commitment. What we have seen is developing these simultaneously, gaining skills and strategies in these areas will definitely help you to have marriage mastery. So join us here every Monday. We'd love to see you. We have our school group where there's more content like this that will definitely give you more information, education. It's at school.com, Epic Your Life. So check it out. Check out our About page and join us on this movement for creating extraordinary. All right.